Hello, is this the State Department? Yes? I'm stuck in Khartoum. Oh, another phony phone call. I mean, seriously, who do you contact? We had to send the special forces in to evacuate our embassy in the Sudan. I guess the government under Biden, they can predict the weather in 50 years, but when they see that the militia and the standing army in Sudan have, they're in the middle of a civil war, it took them a little time to figure that out, I guess, to bring them out. But let's take a look at how they did that. Go.
New reporting tonight on the daring operation in the middle of the night to rescue Americans from the U.S. Embassy in Sudan, including SEAL Team 6. And just before we came on the air tonight, the U.S. revealing a new 72-hour ceasefire in place in Sudan to allow desperate families a chance to escape the fighting and to allow the U.S. to help get more Americans out. Tonight, the Pentagon sending 2 Navy ships, one already there. And James Longman with late reporting tonight.
Tonight, inside the daring mission to save Americans at the U.S. Embassy in Sudan, we're learning new details about the overnight rescue, that dangerous nighttime mission to evacuate the embassy in the besieged capital of Khartoum. U.S. Special Operations Forces included the Navy's elite SEAL Team 6, and they flew 800 miles to Sudan's capital in 3 Chinook helicopters. They took off from a U.S. base in Djibouti and stopped only to refuel in Ethiopia. The choppers were on the ground for less than an hour, with several manned and unmanned aircraft flying overhead. All this under the cover of darkness. No shots fired and no casualties. They rescued close to 100 embassy staffers and their families. And tonight, just a short time ago, ABC News has learned a new US-brokered ceasefire is taking effect as the US works to assist thousands of American citizens still trapped in the war-torn country. The White House says it's actively facilitating the evacuation of those U.S. citizens who want to get out.
We have deployed U.S. intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance assets to support land evacuation routes, which Americans are using, and we're moving naval assets within the region to provide support. American citizens have begun arriving in Port Sudan, and we are helping to facilitate their onward travel.
According to a U.S. official, the Pentagon is looking at multiple options to facilitate the evacuation of people from Sudan if called upon, including the use of Port Sudan. That might mean the presence of U.S. troops. And we learned today the Pentagon is sending 2 Navy ships in a standby position near that port. They've also deployed drones over the only land evacuation route as UN convoys, some carrying Americans, make the dangerous 500-mile drive out of Khartoum. The White House says there's a willingness to get those Americans out of Sudan, but no mass evacuation is planned.
There's certainly a willingness to take steps to help Americans be able to get out of the country. The president has asked for every conceivable option to be able to help Americans.
American teacher Trillian Clifford and her 18-month-old daughter Alma are sheltering in place in Sudan. They're now rationing food and supplies. Earlier, her family called on the United States to help get her out.
I'm very frustrated because as a U.S. citizen who works abroad, she's always been told, the U.S. Embassy has her back. And it's very clear that they don't.
But the U.S. saying tonight they are working to help U.S. citizens who want to leave. An estimated 16,000 Americans, many with dual citizenship.
Let's stop right there. I'm trying to figure out, you just evacuated everyone out of the embassy. Okay. So you're a citizen and you're stuck in Sudan like that young lady and her baby. So who do you contact? There's no embassy. You just call 911? What do? You send the pigeons up for to the naval vessels? I'd be curious. It's always a big hole in the reporting. It's like Afghanistan. We're doing everything to get our citizens out, but you evacuated the embassy, so how are we getting our citizens out? You evacuated the military, and the citizens are there, and they're still there. God knows what's happening to them, let alone the Afghans who supported us. But when they say we're doing everything possible to get them out, we're not doing a mass evacuation, I don't even know what that means. 16,000, that's a lot of people. Why aren't you doing a mass evacuation? In other words, what is a mass evacuation? You know what it is? You ever see those old movies where the Marines go right down the center of the street and they evacuate the people? I'm not saying you do it that way anymore, but I'm saying that's a mass evacuation where you have the Army go in there and the Marines go in there and help them evacuate. 16,000 citizens, American citizens. They're not all dual citizens. And Your embassy's empty. I don't know who they're going to contact or how the hell they're going to get out of there. And I heard Kirby the other day going on and on that we don't know everybody who's over there or the exact number. And so how are you going to get them out? Go.
Remain in the country, but the State Department says only dozens have actually contacted the US looking for help.
Only dozens have contacted the U.S. Who do they contact? Hello, is this the State Department? Yes. I'm stuck in Khartoum. Oh, another phony phone call. I mean, seriously, who do you contact? Well, I don't know who you contact, to be perfectly honest with it, but I don't know why we didn't see this coming. Sudan has been at dagger points, these opposition to the government for a long, long time. I've talked about how the regime there slaughters the Christians. It's a very corrupt, very brutal government where they have used the army to kill the Christians there. And I don't know who's fighting whom, and we get nothing from this story. And you get no information about, well, who are these militia? Are they people who've had enough? Are they terrorists? Who exactly? I don't know. State Department says they've only been contacted by a few dozen people. Really? Well, how are they going to contact you? Cell phones? Well, the electricity's out. Or the cell towers are taken out. So we have a big problem. And the problem is the Biden administration.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.